What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Fear the Walking Dead Season 3, Episode 10, The Diviner. Ugh. So, essentially, this episode's all about Maddie and Taka go trying to get some more water because they realize they're running out, and then there's stuff going on back at the ranch. People are getting more and more frustrated, the tensions are getting higher, and they're about to start a fight. So, yeah, just all that stupidity, you know. First of all, we'll talk about the stuff with Maddie and Strand. So she goes with Taka there and just happens to run into Strand. Just so happens. And then she tries to help him out, and ultimately he still gets caught anyway. And he has to pay his dues, which is essentially he has to be down at the gate taking on all these walkers. And yeah, that's essentially what his debt is. So he has to do that. Meanwhile, Maddie and Taka are trying to get some water from this woman, so they're like spending some stuff. And so ultimately, I think they do get some, but also Maddie pays off the rest of Strand's debt. Um, so yeah, now they've got Strand. Now the thing is, Taka kind of calls her out on this because he's like, you just doomed everybody at the ranch for him. And of course, she's like, well, yeah, he's going to take us to the dam and he's going to solve our problems. Now, the thing is, this is a great plan because they're going to go there. Daniel is there. All they have to do is say, hey, Ophelia's with us and she needs water, and Daniel's going to give them the water they need. But Maddie doesn't know that Daniel's there. So, best case scenario, she's just trusting that Strand can figure this out. So unintentionally, this ends up being a great idea, but I'm not going to let the fact slide that because she doesn't know that Daniel there, this is actually a stupid idea. But it's going to work out to be a great idea. And that's the funny thing about this show, isn't it? It's things that, oh, this is a dumb idea. Why is he going out there by himself? Oh, but it worked out. He found some people. That's the thing about the show. Dumb ideas turn into smart ideas because the show writers make it so. Oh, Maddie, she risked the lives of all these people, but it's gonna work out in the end because she's a go-getter. So that happens. Stuff at the ranch is just kind of BS to me because you've got Nick. All these people are looking to Nick because he's like apparently the face of the militia now because he was in there with Troy whenever he was starting the whole thing. Which, first of all, again, the fact that Nick got in trouble, even though he was just in there to talk Troy down, and then they just started shooting at Troy for some reason, it's that's the thing. Again, there are no good people in this because essentially Taka's men went up there, started shooting up the house, and now they're sitting there like they're a part of this group. There's like, yeah, we own this place. Like, we let you guys stay. You're welcome. It's just like, now they're acting like douchebags, Like, we were supposed to hopefully, like, care about both of these people, but the thing is, I don't because one group is like, you guys are, you guys are Indians. We don't like you because you're different. We're scared because you look different. The other side's like, oh, we own this place. We let you stay. We could have kicked you off. We had the power to, but we let you stay. So I don't like either side. And that's a problem. I should want to like at least somebody. Honestly, Alicia, she's redeeming herself in this episode because she is trying to play both sides. She is trying to keep the peace, but everybody's acting like a dick to her. So, yeah, I'm just kind of like, I hate all these people. They're all annoying. Can they all just... this whole, like, shootout is being threatened at the end of this episode where all these people... Which, Nick, I don't know where he stands, honestly. Like, he says, oh, but now I've got the gun, which means they don't. But he seems completely fine being the face of the militia. He seems completely fine everybody turning to him for guidance. And he certainly doesn't shirk them off. He's like... Yeah, okay, yeah. We can't do anything yet, guys. But he's not saying, guys, let's just try to work with them. He's not trying to play peacekeeper. He's just essentially saying, wait, don't go fight yet. But he's still letting them get ready to fight. He's still keeping them in a mindset of, yeah, we gotta fight them. Instead of a, hey, let's work together. Kind of ironic how much this show does relate to real life right now, you know? But that's the problem, is that I'm really frustrated with a lot of stuff going on in our country right now because it's a lot of us versus them. And the show is doing it, but not in a smart way. You know, they are trying to show that kind of us versus them mentality and how dangerous it can be, but they're not doing it in a smart way. And they're trying to make it where one side seems a little bit more right than the other. And that's not the case. They're both in the wrong. And then the weird part about all of this is that it looks like there's going to be a shoot off, a showdown at the end. But then all of a sudden we see Alicia with some kids digging up a hole. And it's like, oh, she's trying to find, I think she was trying to find water or something. Like she's trying to find, I, I don't even know. But one of the guys was even like, she's not going to find anything. Nick's like, she's trying to save us. Hands the guy the gun, walks over. Everybody's like, okay, we'll walk over there too. Let's all work together. We're all in this too. I don't want a copyright strike. I don't think I would get one, but you never know. But that's the thing, is that it all ends on some weird note where because Alicia's digging a hole with some kids, I'm assuming trying to find some sort of water main or something like that. Because she's doing that, all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, okay. Yeah, we'll put down the guns. Let's all work together, guys. Come here, arm in arm. We're working together. And one guy even says she's not going to find anything. And yet he still goes over there to help out in the end. I don't know. It seemed weird. It seemed like, oh, that's not going to do anything. And then it does. And I'm like, yep. I'm going to be perfectly honest. After I finish this season, I may not come back to the show for a while, if at all. And if I do, I'm considering just stopping reviews after this season unless it gets better. Just because, I mean, I'm sure it can't be that fun to hear me like complain about this show. Maybe it is for some people. Maybe some people like have watched this show and they've seen other people talk about it and everybody's just praising this show. And there's some people out there that are like, no, the show sucks. And so maybe I'm like one of the few voices online willing to say anything bad about the show. In fact, I just want to do a quick check real quick. Because I am curious. I'm curious to see what were these ratings, you know? And I'll compare. I'll look back at season 2 and then check this season and say, all right, so what's it looking like? So season 2, mostly 7 point something, couple below 7.0. Okay, so one episode, which is probably one of the best ones, I think, where we saw Travis go crazy and kill those guys at the end. That one got an 8.2. Everything else, there's a 7.9 for the last episode, but everything else was 7.7 and then below. There was a 7.8. But it wasn't that high, you know. It wasn't anything above an 8 except for that one episode. This season, start off with an 8.1, already false. The 100 episode got an 8.2, which was one of the better ones, I guess. Yeah, Children of Wrath got an 8.2. No. This one got a 7.4. Like, that's the thing. These are all, you know, they're not terrible reviews, which I think is a problem. Because this show deserves below a 7.0 for most of these episodes. So either nobody's really talking bad about the show or they don't care enough to where they're just like, you know what, it was average, it was okay. Because it's not the worst show I've ever seen. It's just so incoherent that I don't really care. And I should care. And I think part of the problem is because it is with the same, you know, it's with The Walking Dead. It's based on The Walking Dead. It's just a different story in the same universe. So it should still be enjoyable. You know, and one of the writers on it is Robert Kirkman. It should be good. It should be enjoyable at least. I should at least be able to grasp onto something in this show, but I can't. Like I said, none of the people on the show right now, except for maybe Jake and Alicia, are good people. Everybody else, complete douchebags. And even the one good character, because honestly, I will say Jake and Alicia, even though they're good people, I wouldn't say they're good characters. They're just, I mean, like, they're decent people. They're not assholes like everybody else. Daniel is the only good character on the show, but he's not a good person, as we know. But even he's kind of gotten pushed to the side, and I don't know, he's got this weird thing going on at the dam. I don't know. It's just so frustrating to watch. Anyways, like I said, I might not do reviews after this season. I'll have to look at it and really see if I want to talk about the show or if I'm basically just going to be saying the same stuff. Because if I'm saying the same stuff, I don't enjoy the show. I don't care about the people. If I keep saying that over and over again, I feel like these aren't really reviews anymore. I can still talk about some of the stupid stuff, like, particular to each episode. But that's honestly the main problem with the show, is that I don't care about the characters. So, anyways, that's it for this episode. On to the next one. See you there. Now, episode 11, La Serpiente. Honestly, it was okay. Still not quite interesting enough for me. And again, it all just comes down to the fact that I don't really care about these characters. But yeah, so this is mainly, it's all focused on the dam. It's all focused on Maddie and Strand and Walker trying to get water for the people. So that's where they are. The big taking away points that I have for this episode. First of all, Walker still just, I can't bring myself to, not even just to like him, but just, I don't know, like, I can't bring myself to see him as a character. He just seems to be, I don't know, a prop for the writers. Like, whenever they want to move the story along or whenever they want to cause tension, in steps Walker, and he's causing tension. He's doing something that's causing tension for no reason, really. Because we're getting to the end of this episode, and he's just, like, talking down to Madison, like, oh, I don't know why I keep trusting you. I don't know why I keep taking your word. And, like, getting all pissed off and then talking about the ranchers have to leave now, and then turns and walks away. I'm just like, dude, you're the one that thinks so highly of her for some reason, and then at the first sign of resistance, because they're saying, oh, well, you can't have water, all of a sudden he's just like, oh, I'm angry now, I'm gonna walk away. It's just, it doesn't fit with everything else. And that's the thing, is like, these writers, they seem to write up these little plot contrivances. They want to make Walker like Madison early on in the season for reasons, because they want her to survive. And so he just has like this inkling about her, like, oh yeah, she's somebody I can turn to. She's somebody I can trust. And now, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this one episode, they go there, think it's going to work. It doesn't work at first, and so he's just like, oh, well, I don't trust you. I don't know why I keep trusting you. You always are, not, he doesn't say lying, but basically says that he can't take her word for anything. Like, she's always coming up with problems or something. I don't know. It's just so dumb. Whenever you have a character that just can't keep things straight. And then, at the end of the episode, they end up driving up and see him on the road, and he just has like this smile, like, yeah, I knew I could trust you. And that's where I'm just like, yeah, no, like, you shouldn't have this kind of knowing smile, like, yeah, you're good, Madison, you're good, because you just bitched her out for no reason earlier in the episode. So the other talking point, though, is I'm curious to see Daniel's side of the story. And again, he's still the only interesting character on the show, because now here he is. He's been a killer, and then he went crazy, and now he's kind of gained that sanity, but now he's trying to help Lola with the dam and all this stuff. And I'm not a big fan of Lola. I'm not a big fan of Ephraim anymore. Like, at first I thought they were good people who were trying to help Daniel. Now they both kind of turned a little dumb, because Lola, she doesn't want to just, she wants to help people, but she's also not willing to see the reality of the situation, which is, if you extend too much of a helping hand, that hand's going to get chopped off by people who just want to take what's yours. You know, and that's what Daniel's trying to help show her. Ephraim can clearly see that that's what's going on because he's actually out there seeing it, and he's still just like, no, 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 just give the water to everybody. It's well, yeah, but then you're not going to have anything. You're going to lose out on this lake that you have. You know, I don't get me wrong. I understand. Honestly, they're probably the most decent people after, definitely compared to everybody on the ranch. They're very decent people. They want to help people. That's fine. But also, because you saw how things went with Dante, you should know that there are people out there like this. And because of some of the stuff that's happened where people just all of a sudden were just like, hey, you have water? Give us the water, throwing rocks at you and stuff. Because you've seen some of that already, I feel like this hesitation should start to set in a little bit. Like there should be something that starts to make you go, okay, all right, you know what? Maybe we should be a little bit more cautious. Maybe we should try to put down our foot a little bit more so that way this type of stuff doesn't happen. People don't get hurt in the process. But instead, it's just like, no, they still want to help people. They still want to try to help people. You know what? Just let the water go to everybody. Everybody deserves it. You run out of resources that way. Somebody does have to divvy up the resources because of what's going on. So, I don't know. I just feel like it was a little they were a little naive. But anyways, going back to Daniel, though, he's trying to help out here. But when he finds out Ophelia's okay, this relief washes over him. Until he talks with Walker later, and he finds out Walker had her kill these people. And because of that, she's being celebrated as a hero because of it. That's an interesting story. Because, again, I care about Daniel. Ophelia's kind of up in the air now. Don't really know how I feel about her ever since the hotel scene. But I cared about Ophelia. I wanted to see them survive because they were more human, I felt like. Even though Daniel, killed a lot of people, he still felt more human than most of the Strand family. So him finding out now that Ophelia had to kill all these people and she's being celebrated because of it, I think that's going to hurt him. Because he didn't want her to have to deal with that. He didn't want her to become what he became. And now she has. So I'm curious to see how that's all going to work out, like where that's going to lead him, what's going to happen because of this. It's an interesting story. And I feel like it's probably the only interesting story that I've got to grasp onto right now. So a little bit of a step up. We'll see where that one goes. But anyways, that's it for this episode. On to the next one. See you there. And episode 12, Brother's Keeper. So, recreating kind of the horde scene from The Walking Dead again. So essentially, we start off this episode with a very, very, very extended edition of A Day in the Life of Troy. The reason I say very, very, very extended is because, honestly, it took 6.5 minutes to show Troy out in the desert. He's trying to find food. He's walking around, gets to the outpost, finds some food in the outpost. He sees the dead guy that had his brain eaten by the crows out there. He goes up into the room. He finds a grenade launcher in there. He goes and makes a fire. He digs a grave for the guy. He goes through all this random stuff. Ultimately, what it leads to is, one, he gets the grenade launcher, and two, he sees this massive horde that he shoots to draw toward him. So, why waste 6.5 minutes talking about, or not even talking about, just showing that? And don't get me wrong, I get that's kind of, it's the style, it's the Walking Dead style, where you just kind of show a bunch of silent storytelling. But I don't know, it just felt like a lot of nothing that led to two things that you could have very quickly shown. And honestly, I feel like it would have been even better if we didn't see that. And then all of a sudden Troy shows up and he's talking about something that he found that's like so beautiful or something like that, and you're just like, what is he talking about? And then all of a sudden they happen upon the horde, and you're just like, holy crap. But the thing is, based on the opening, I'm like, oh, so he found a horde that he's leading towards everyone. Okay. Um, so yeah, that's essentially this episode though, is he leads the horde toward the people. I'm guessing this is going to be kind of the final four episodes is them dealing with this. Um, they did take out some of them, but there's like, I don't know, probably like 1,000 walkers out there. So they took down like maybe 50. Still got a lot to go, of course. They got to weather out the storm. And of course, we know Madison and Strand are on their way back too, so they're going to happen upon this as well. It's going to suck for them. But yeah, I don't know. This there's just a lot of build up to seeing the horde, and then we see them, and then all of a sudden they're there, and then it just kind of it felt like it rushed through a lot of stuff, you know, like it rushed to we're at the horde, and then it rushed to the horde's at the camp and or the ranch, and then we rushed to we're getting or well first they got the trucks in place, and then all of a sudden they're at the ranch and then they're waiting, you know, they're trying to wait out the horde, but then the horde pushes the trucks over or the vans or whatever, the campers, and then all of a sudden they're fighting the horde, and I don't know, it just felt like it kind of was skipping scenes almost, like things were happening and suddenly cut and something else is happening, because like you know they had this long line of campers lined up, and then the horde pushes through the campers, and then all of a sudden like we see them fighting and there's walkers all around, and I'm like, no, it should be like a wall coming at them. Why is it so scattered now? Like what happened there? Did they cut to later? Like where exactly in the ranch are they compared to getting back to the pantry where of course, you know, it's the easiest place to hide out in. Of course, it is going to be interesting to see like is the pantry going to hold. But I don't know, it just felt a little jump all over the place. Couple things though that stood out to me is just things to talk about, not good things. First of all, this whole thing with Nick killing, you know, Jeremiah. Here's the thing, Alicia is talking to him at the beginning of the episode, talking to him about how he doesn't owe Troy anything. She says, and I quote, "You killed an evil man to save your family." What about Jeremiah makes him evil that you cannot say about Walker, about his kids, aside from Jake, about your mother, about the people that work for Walker and for Jeremiah? What can you say about Jeremiah that is so much more evil than the other people? You know? Like that's the thing. She talks about him like he's the worst person. He was the root of all the problems. No, everybody is terrible. Like I've been saying all season. And if I had to guess what makes him more evil, well, he's racist. Okay? Yeah, that's bad. But so is Walker, who is essentially he's not even really killing people. He's leaving them for dead. He's scalping them, letting crows feast on their brain, all because that's mine and I want it. Like, essentially, a toddler who's like, "You took my things. I want it back." And that's not as bad as what Jeremiah was doing. His childish tantrum about wanting his land is not as bad as Jeremiah's childish tantrum about you look different, so I hate you. What? Oh, God. That line right there, I'm just like, yep, there you go. Just like I thought. The show writers want us to believe that now that Jeremiah's gone, now we can really root for these people. Like, you want to see them survive, right? Nope. That whole scene where they're fighting off the walkers and then Coop gets bit on the neck, like, I didn't care for any of it. I'm just sitting here just watching it. It's boring. Oh no, Coop's dead. Oh, I cared for him so much. Didn't care at all. If Ophelia had died, I might have felt a little something. Just probably a little bit of rage because this whole idea that Daniel has to deal with seeing her after she's become a killer is an interesting story. So if they killed her off, they would take away that story, and I'd be pissed. But yeah, just like felt kind of pointless. This whole thing, them fighting off, like I'm just like I don't really care. I don't expect Ophelia to die. I know that Alicia's not gonna die because I mean she's another person that I've seen in like the main art. Like I've tried to not look at the art for the show on Hulu because I know if I look too close, like I'm gonna see people and I'm gonna be like, well, I guess they survived. Like I've already seen Strand, I've seen Maddie, I've seen Alicia, and I've seen Nick. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess they survive. Um, so I'm trying not to look at it because I don't want to see who survives. Just because I don't. If I am gonna keep watching this, I don't want to get spoiled. Um, and not necessarily spoiled on who survives and who doesn't, but spoiled on like, okay, so if I'm ever seeing any scenes with them, I know it's just fake tension. And that's kind of the problem whenever you're seeing a show like this. If you see something, like for instance, whenever I scroll down the last four episodes, the picture, I see Strand, I see Alicia, I see Strand and Maddie, and I see Maddie. So if any of them are ever in any danger, they're going to be okay because, yeah, they're okay. So that's the kind of thing I want to try to avoid if I can. But anyways, the other thing that I wanted to talk about though is what happened with Jake and Troy. So of course Jake and Nick go out there. They see the horde. They see Troy is leading them with a grenade launcher. Troy is getting ready to shoot, and Jake has the gun up. I'll shoot you. I swear on Dad's grave, I'll shoot you. And then he shoots the grenade launcher, and then so he tackles him to the ground, just starts punching him because shooting him, I guess, would have killed him too easily. And then he finds out about what happened to his dad. He just doesn't care, and then he's about to kill Troy, and then Nick stops him, hits him over the head with a grenade launcher, and then he falls and gets bitten, and then they slice his arm off, but then he dies anyway. And then Troy is wants to die, wants Nick to kill him, has to kill his brother. I don't know. That's the thing. None of these scenes really led to anything. I'm wondering, alright, so are they leading to kind of a final showdown with Jake and Troy? Not really. Are they leading to, okay, well, Jake got bit, but then he cut his arm off, so they gotta take him back to get treated before the horde shows up? Not really. Okay, Jake died now. Is this gonna lead to Troy taking himself out in kind of a brother suicide pact? Not really. Alright, well, what is any of this going to lead to then? That was the thing. Whenever they cut off Jake's arm, whenever they're driving him back, I'm thinking, okay, well, you wouldn't just cut off somebody's arm if he wasn't going to survive, right? And then he dies. I'm just like, okay. Then what was all of this for? Why try to save him? Why try to drive? It just didn't really make any sense. It didn't really make any sense what was happening. It was just kind of things were happening up there. And I don't know. Again, kind of similar with what happened with Troy whenever he got exiled. The scene between him and Maddie at the end. Things happened. And I'm just like, what just happened? There were a lot of words thrown around. I understood what they were saying. None of it made sense. I think the writers were having a stroke when they wrote Troy's character because they don't really know what to do with him. They don't know. Do we want him to be a psychopath? Yeah. Do we want other people to treat him like a psychopath? Sometimes. Because Nick telling him that he's gone off his rocker or something this episode, I'm like, has he ever been on his rocker? He's crazy. He has been since we met him. He's a psychopath. And you're seriously telling me that this is off his rocker? This is normal. This is everyday Troy. So I don't know. I feel like the writers don't know how they want other characters to treat Troy. They just kind of write Troy as this crazy psychopath character, and then everybody else, they're just like, how should they interact with Troy this episode? This episode, we want Maddie to try to take him under her wing. But now this episode, let's have her turn her back on him because she doesn't want anything to do with him. But now this episode, let's have her all of a sudden care about him again and want to try to keep him alive. Oh, but Nick, this episode, he's treating him like he's crazy. He's trying to stop him. But now this episode, Nick wants to help him and wants to keep him alive because, they're best buds. That's pretty much what it feels like watching this show. Every other episode, the interactions, the relationships between characters could change like that. Jake and Alicia, they've been having this kind of off. It's not really a relationship, but it is kind of a relationship. They're together, but they're not like super romantic or anything. It feels kind of like a hookup. It doesn't feel like there's any real romantic feelings there. It's just, hey, you're attractive, I'm attractive, it's the apocalypse. Why not? That's kind of what it's felt like. And, they get along fine. But then all of a sudden, this episode, they just blow up on each other out of nowhere. I'm just like, where did this come from? I just feel like character interactions and relationships in the show are not well handled. And that's a problem whenever, again, you're creating a survival show where I should care about these characters. But if you don't care about how these characters act around each other, about how these characters are, then why should I care? Anyways, I know I've beaten that dead horse several times, so I'll just go ahead and stop it there. But yeah, so I guess we'll see. 4 more episodes left. Kind of want to finish it today, but... Well, actually... It's almost midnight, so yeah, I'm not finishing it today. I'll probably pick it back up tomorrow then. So I'm already tired and I don't think I can do much more of this tonight. So, anyways, with all that being said, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these 3? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Fear the Walking Dead, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.